What's happening, everybody? We're here on the North Shore with Parker and Barron, and we're here to talk about the better every day. And the better every day is an update on the happy everyday. Happy everyday was our everyman shortboard, average waves, all around kind of go-to board that you've always got in your car. And the last couple of years, it's been a bestseller for us, and had some updates to do on it to make it even better, hence better every day. So now your everyday board is improved. The first one came about because it was the Stab in the Dark with Taj Burrow, and the request was for a sort of groveler all-around shortboard. And so I started working with Dane Reynolds on that one, just testing a bunch of different designs I had in mind. I made him a bunch. Dane didn't like any of them, which is not surprising for me. That's my usual go-to with Dane. But it ended up doing well with Taj in the Stab in the Dark. He got second in that one, and that became Happy Every Day. As I said, it's been a great board for us, something I'm on 90% of the time. But it had a few things I wanted to improve on. So the first one was I kind of wanted the Happy Every Day has a pretty pronounced hip right here. And for the better every day, I mellowed that hip a bit. And what that seems to do is just make it a little easier off the bottom. Sometimes for some surfers, that hip got a little catchy in the transitions off the bottom and coming out of the top. So when I smoothed that hip, that helped that. And then I also put a swallowtail on it. And I just like the swallowtail. It decreases the overall area of the tail a bit and allows for a bit more freedom. Not as sticky as the squash, still has that on top of the water feeling, but it seems to free the board up and create even more possibility in the transitions. I also added more flip in the tail, which kind of increased the performance of the board overall. Again, getting tighter transitions off the bottom, in the pocket, out of the lip, just kind of leveled up the performance. And then my favorite way to surf it is as a quad. So the better every day comes with a 5-fin setup. You can ride it as a thruster or a quad. I've been loving the feeling of a quad. It's just that free, really fast, loose. It just seems like it unlocks another gear on a board. You have more instant speed. I think that quads have a better top end speed than thrusters do, and just a freer feeling. So for me and for a lot of surfers, it just feels like it opens up, again, more possibilities. And then I worked with FCS on this fin, just in particular for this board that works on a lot of quads. And the idea is it's our upright front fin that we've done with FCS for a few years, the CI upright, which is kind of a pivot fin for a thruster. But for the quad, we created this brand new template in the back, which is a really raked fin. So the fun thing about quads is the more that you mix and match front and back, it just changes everything, more than even a thruster setup. Just instant, immediate feedback. You can really dial stuff in. And after a couple years of trying stuff, this is a set that I landed on, upright in the front, really raked, brand new bespoke template in the back. And that makes the better every day. And it really is better than the happy every day. But the boys have been on them, riding them. And what's kind of your experience been, guys?
Yep. You go first. I really have enjoyed the quad fin.
Yeah.
I think at home, just in California, the waves are really soft. And I think that kind of water flowing off of the tail really adds to just your overall glide feeling. And I did have a couple of the happy everydays with the bigger hips, and I was one of those surfers that just found it being a little bit catchy where I didn't want it to be. And I definitely feel like that made it a little bit more versatile in a sense. There was a bigger space to turn from. With the hip, I felt like I needed my foot kind of right in the right spot, and without the hip, kind of opened it up and made it kind of easier to ride.
Kind of a bigger sweet spot too, huh?
Yeah, fully.
Yeah.
And then that kind of combined with the extra glide was just really fun, and it's kind of small skatey points around home. And I rode at a lot of beach breaks too. It seemed to kind of, most of the time in my mind, I feel like quads are really down the line, but I think you guys kind of mess with like the placement of the quads a lot to where they were able to turn really quick directional change. And yeah.
What's kind of like the range of waves that you would ride it on size-wise?
Home, I was kind of probably in like the waist to chest high range to about like overhead. I never really tried much bigger than that, just because at that point I was kind of going on to more of a traditional shortboard, but never really had the moment of feeling like, oh, this thing's kind of getting overpowered by waves or anything. Is just at that point I kind of moved to other boards for that category. But Yeah, it's super versatile, fun, easy to ride. Duals are friendly, but then you could still rip on it. So it's good.
I found like head high where I might be inclined to go to a shortboard. If I go back to the thruster on this board, then it's got more hold. The quad kind of, for me at head high, it feels like I'm pushing the limits of it. But then with the thruster, it unlocks a couple more feet for me on it.
I like that.
What about you, Baron? How's it going?
Yeah, when I got my first one, I took it to Rockies and it was pretty big. Like I accidentally had it in my car. I was like, oh, it's only where I had, so I just ran out. And it was like 6 feet, I'd say 5, 6 feet. And I was like, oh, whoa, it's like really big. I didn't know how the board was gonna go. But I took it out and I was stoked on it. Like I was getting barrel on it. It was going super fast. I like the quad just because even in like the flat sections, you can kind of fly on it because you're gaining so much speed at the takeoff. But it had good hold, and then I rode it at the sandbar, and it was super fun. It was like waist high, chest high, like Parker was saying, and it was super fun, super rippable. It's just I was super stoked on how everything felt, and I feel like you could kind of ride it in any conditions.
Yeah, I've seen on some clips you got like you unlocked a whole another size range on the thing. Earn crazy barrels. I mean, you get barreled every time you surf, but
yeah, it was fun. I mean, in the barrel it was insane. I was stoked on it. Just like quads in long barrels, I've always thought work really good. I don't really ride them at pipe or anything, but just in like those fun little small like beach break barrels, you can just kind of play with it and yeah, I was stoked on the hold. A lot of like, especially on carbs and stuff, like the speed I got to carry through and the hold was really good, and I was stoked on it.
Yeah, nice. So there it is, the Better Everyday, which is part of the Happy family. So in the Happy family, you know, at the bottom size range, you start with a Better Everyday, and then you go to the Too Happy, which is the more performance shortboard in the family. Opens up the next level of waves and quality of waves. If you're a bigger guy, an older guy, someone who needs a little bit of help, the Big Happy's for you. When I'm not on the Better Everyday, I'm on the Big Happy. That's my go-to. Big range of waves that you could ride that in. And then, of course, if you're blessed enough to get some really good waves like these boys do all the time, Happy Traveler. So get happy.